Yeah.
Oh, we're recording in progress.
Okay. Are we
Okay,
good?
I guess we are recording now. Hi, guys. Thanks so much for joining us on our first investors seminar for our Toronto and Vancouver clients and friends. We plan on doing something like this every couple of weeks, so stay tuned and we are here to answer your questions, no fear. I'm Kelly Young with Remax Real Estate, and this is my colleague, Karen.
Karen Stenko with Remax Real Estate. We're here live in Edmonton, Alberta.
And so we will get started with you. So first of all, we'll go through these PowerPoint. Building financial security, investing in real estate. It's always been very standard. I'm sure your parents have told you to invest in real estate and invest in land. And we're here to show you how there's some new tips and tricks to navigate that these days.
So the big thing that you are going to want to start with is getting some goals and a game plan. I always say that. Make your wish list. Are you hoping to retire with a number of portfolio properties that are giving you rental residual income over the time? Or are you looking for short-term gains? This is something that you're going to want to go through with a financial planner or ourselves to figure out what your end goal is and how much you want to invest in.
Buying real estate can be a great way to fund your retirement. As I said, I'm sure most parents have already said invest in real estate, but there are different ways that you can invest in real estate. And so going through the pros and cons of single family versus multi-unit is going to be one of those ways. Another one is figuring out whether you want to hold or if you want to flip. That would be another thing that you'd want to discuss and figure out what it is that works best for you as a investor.
Mm-hmm. And right now it is a very good flipping environment. There are not very many houses for sale, but if you can get a good bargain on one and you can get supplies, which is challenging, you can still get a good return on your investment. But of course, there's the repair costs, short-term capital gains. We do have some financial places or mortgage brokers that finance specifically for flips. So short-term without any payout penalties. Yeah.
Well, those slides are pertained to the States. And there's always, of course, a sense of pride in home ownership, whether that be an investment or you living in there personally. Is there a property manager worth the price? So that's the other thing that we're going to start talking about is when is it time to invest in having a property manager? Being, of course, away, it's always nice to have some eyes and ears on the ground.
So what property managers typically cost, which is probably one of your questions, is 10% of your rental. So what did this give you is a sense of ease about your investment. So for instance, if you're worried about snow removal or a furnace blowing out in the middle of winter and you getting a call from your tenant and you being out of province would be more challenging. So these guys jump to the pump for you, but there is a cost associated, which is typically 10%. And of course you could be RBO, which would cost a little bit more because of course you'd be paying for cleaning costs and that sort of management more hands-on. So it depends on which way you want to go.
Setting your rental price to maximize your income and your ROI. Well, setting a rental price is a catch-22. Of course, you want to maximize what you can in any rental market. However, do you want to also constantly be dealing with maybe achieving maximum rent, but then you have a turnover of tenants all the time, and then you have to deal with those times of vacancies, and that could also cut into your ROI. So sometimes having a more affordable rent and then having tenants that stay for a longer duration so you don't have those vacancies to contend with might be a better solution. So those are some things that we would discuss and figure out what best works out for that rental. If it's a stable area and it's conducive for single family for somebody to live in for, reasonably 5 to 7 years, then that's the route that you want to go. Or if it's maybe more of a fancier or high sought after area location where you're able to charge a premium in rent, well, that's something where maybe you might look into more of a Airbnb or a short-term rental.
And there is possibilities of achieving. I talked to a gentleman last year who was running Airbnb, and he achieved up to $4,500 a month from his house. He had 3 different suites in it, and he was actively working those. So really, the sky's the limit.
Features that attract long-lasting quality tenants. So little things like obviously location. So we'll be able to direct you into what areas of Edmonton are sought after. Having easy accessibility to public transportation is always important. And then also little things like garage, heated underground parking, having in-suite laundry, things like that will also add longevity to those tenants in that property. So things like that are things that we would bring up and point out for you that you might not consider in a property.
People would never consider that laundry is so important, or in a winter city, underground parking.
Pet friendly, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Vacation rentals versus year-round tenants. So that's once again things that we would talk about, and it really comes down to what you as an investor would like, your vision. Your budget is going to be a consideration into that, how hands-on or hands-off you want to be, and then once again the type of product that you're most comfortable with. With a single detached house, yes, you don't have the strata fees, but then you're responsible for the entirety of the property, versus a condo complex, you're responsible for paint to paint. You have a third party that is looking after the exterior of the building and the maintenance of the building. So a little bit more hands-free, but it's going to cost you. So it comes down to your flexibility and what you're comfortable with.
And a condo, for all you BC people, and maybe even Ontario, is strata. That's what people call it there. So we call it condo in Edmonton.
Selecting the right real estate agent. Well, you definitely want to vet your agents. You want to make sure that they have years in the experience and they understand the market area and your vision of what it is that you want to do for your investment. Obviously, having familiarity with looking at budget sheets and collecting pro formas and things like that is also key.
Additional things that a real estate agent or a grounds-on, hands-on real estate agent should have is experience, number one. And another thing is to actually go out there and look at the properties for you, create videos for you so you can be hands-on, so that you're not wasting your time flying out here and then there's no properties for you to view, or the property that you did like has been gone. So, that is a huge thing, being hands-on for sure. So that's our short little blurb. We'll just open it up to any questions. Oh, and we see Melanie has a question.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Melanie. Thanks for joining.
Hi, thank you. I have a question for you. You mentioned the Edmonton market a number of times and choosing the right neighborhoods and areas. What sets Edmonton apart for investment over, say, the Vancouver market or the Toronto market right now?
Number one, Mel, is, or Melanie, is actually the prices. What's really pushing us, and I've spoken to quite a few investors over the last year, is that the Vancouver and Toronto market have priced themselves out. So people are looking to expand, to invest into our area because we still are considered affordable. In 10 years, will we be the affordable alternative the way prices are going up? I don't think so. And the forecast of our population to double in size over the next 10 years is also something to keep in mind. So are you getting in at ground level? Yes. And are we able to show you the highs and the lows of the Edmonton market? Our peak was in 2007, and our market tends to go in 7-year cycles. So that would be important.
I would say some of the things to know, Edmonton versus Vancouver and Toronto, is once again, of course, the prices. I would say Edmonton has been more stable in the last 10 years. You don't have the high volatility that you would in Vancouver and Toronto. And then once again, just because of the price points, 20% down in Vancouver and Toronto won't get you much, whereas 20% down here, you could get a sixplex or something like that for, around that 1 million price point. Whereas, like I said, in Vancouver and Toronto, you're really priced out of the market here. So us being able to find you that investment that gives you annual cash flowing rental income is where you want to park your money versus waiting in the Vancouver and Toronto market and maybe not necessarily getting to collect on your annual rent, but your property value increases. So it comes down to your portfolio, how long you plan on holding that property, and what kind of cash flow you look to get out of that.
Another key point, Melanie, that you might not know is that Edmonton is a capital city, which means we have
International airport.
Well, we have an international airport, but we also have the Parliament buildings for all of Alberta here. Surprisingly enough, that does employ quite a few government workers for the province of Alberta, and it keeps our economy a little bit more stable than for, say, our nemesis or competition, Calgary, which tends to go up and down a little bit more based on oil prices. We're a little bit more stable here because of all those government employees.
And also foreign investment too. I mean, a lot of foreign capital is focused more on Toronto and Vancouver. And I think that's frankly because they really don't know anything else in Canada. And so you being a Canadian resident living in Vancouver and Toronto, Edmonton might be a viable option for you. So you don't have to compete with foreign investment and foreign money.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Do we have another question?
Any other questions?
Hi, Karen and Kelly. It's Cheryl.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. How much do you need to invest? I know you touched on it a little bit, but
okay, the minimum.
Go into it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So for investment property, this being your second property, most banks will require 20% down for financing. There are going to be other B lenders that you might be able to gain access with, but those are going to be a little bit trickier, and they always come with some sort of a caveat to that. But I mean, it comes down to a minimum of 20% down. So even with 5,000 down, there's always something that we can kind of get you in, whether that be a condo product where you, I mean, there are
as low as $80,000.
To be honest,
with underground
frankly,
parking, which is awesome. You can rent out for $1,000 a month.
I just saw one the other day for
$5,000,
55,000 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom condo. So,
and that's a concrete building that we're talking about. So there is all sorts of options, depends on your budget, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, but in investing, it's never too late to get started. It's always a good idea to start early and do your due diligence. Just because you have some money set aside doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually going to go and purchase and close in the next 3 months. It might take you 6 to 9 months. So do your shopping early, figure out what price points are in the market. It's always good to keep your eye on that kind of stuff.
One other option, or something that I touched on earlier, was we do have even home flipping financing available. Now, keep in mind that their interest rates are as high as 9%, but they finance for that short-term period. So you could put down a low as 10% down and get that short-term financing while you flip and move your money in and out of your account as best you can, as long as you're very good at doing construction work and you don't hire botch contractors, which it can be a little bit of a challenge. But there's always a little, you can make $20,000 to $30,000 on a flip. So, and then pay off that loan quite quickly, and you've made money on a 10%.
Where there's a will, there is a way. So we're just reaching that 45 minutes here. So we just want to wrap up real quick. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks again for your questions. We plan on doing this every couple of weeks. And
we'll have different topics that we'll be touching on. So, downsizing, upsizing, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Karen Stanko with RE/MAX.
Kelly Young with RE/MAX. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we'll leave our contact information on the slideshow below if you have any other questions.
How did this record now?
Okay, way to go, Kelly.
Okay, now stop recording.